Okay, ready to dive into one of SETI's biggest mysteries.
Biggest is right. We're talking about the wow signal.
That's right, that 72-second blip from
The
1977.
one that had everyone shouting aliens.
So today we're doing a deep dive into the wow signal, trying to unpack what we know,
What we think we know.
and maybe what we still don't know. Um,
There's a lot we still don't know.
that's what makes it so interesting, right?
Exactly. So to set the stage for our listeners,
Let's take a trip back in time.
back to 1977. Picture this. It's 1977.
Discos everywhere.
Bell-bottoms are all the rage.
And at Ohio State University, the Big Ear telescope.
Is listening to the cosmos?
And this wasn't just any telescope,
No, the big ear was massive, and it was stationary.
meaning it didn't move around like some telescopes do.
Instead, it relied on the Earth's rotation to scan the sky.
A clever way to cover a lot of ground, so to speak.
Or sky, as it were. It swept its gaze across a portion of the sky as the Earth turned.
So efficient. But why use this kind of setup for SETI? For searching for extraterrestrial intelligence?
Well, they were listening for something very specific. Whispers of hydrogen.
Hydrogen. Like the element hydrogen.
Exactly, the most abundant element in the universe.
Okay, so how do you listen for an element?
Well, hydrogen emits radio waves. And not just any radio waves, but at a very specific frequency.
Let me guess, about 1420 megahertz, the hydrogen line.
You got it. It's like a cosmic beacon. Astronomers figured any civilization wanting to make contact.
We'd probably use that frequency. It's universal.
Precisely, like a cosmic meeting place on the radio dial.
So the Big Ear tuned to this hydrogen line, scanning the sky, and then in 1977,
It picked up something remarkable.
entered Jerry Emmon.
Our hero with a red pen.
And that now famous notation on the printout, 6EQUJ5.
Which, by the way, still makes me think of some kind of alien code every time I see it.
Me too. But can you break down what that string of characters actually means?
Sure. Basically, it represents the signal's intensity over time.
Like a graph, but with letters.
Exactly. Each letter corresponds to a specific level of intensity.
And the U, well, that's where things get exciting.
To put it mildly, U signified an intensity 30 times higher than the usual background noise.
30 times.
That's like going from a whisper to a shout in a matter of seconds.
No wonder they called it the wow signal. It's like, wow, what was that?
Exactly. It was completely unprecedented.
But the volume or intensity wasn't the only thing that made it so unique, right?
Oh, you're right. The wow. Signal's bandwidth was also incredibly unusual.
Bandwidth, you mean like how much of the radio spectrum it took up?
Exactly. Most natural radio sources are kind of messy. They emit over a wide range of frequencies.
But this one, the wow signal, was different.
It was extremely narrow, like a laser beam compared to a floodlight.
So we have this loud, focused signal right where we think an alien civilization might be transmitting.
It's almost too good to be true.
And well, as we know, it kind of was, wasn't it?
Sadly, yes. Despite numerous attempts, the wow signal has never been heard again.
It's like it just vanished into thin air.
Or thin space, in this case.
And to make matters even more complicated, we have the mystery of the Big Ear's horns.
Ah, yes, the infamous dual horn setup.
Two receivers, which, if I remember correctly, means we don't even know exactly where the signal came from.
That's right. We know the general area of the sky, but the Big Ear's design makes it tricky to pinpoint the exact location.
So it's like knowing a sound came from a certain direction, but not being able to tell which window it came through.
A good analogy. So because of that two-horn setup, the wow signal could have come from one of two possible patches of sky,
And these patches, where are we talking about?
both in the same general region near the constellation Sagittarius.
Sagittarius. Anything interesting, those patches, star-wise?
That's the strange part. Neither region contains any particularly noteworthy stars that could be obvious sources.
No red dwarfs, no G-type stars like our sun, no pulsars going tick-tock, tick-tock.
Nope, nothing that really jumps out as a likely suspect. And believe me, scientists have looked.
Oh, I bet. I mean, Jerry Eman himself spent years looking for a repeat.
He did. And he wasn't alone. The Very Large Array, that massive collection of radio telescopes in New Mexico, they took a swing at it too.
No luck.
None whatsoever. What's that?
Now, signal has remained stubbornly silent.
It's almost as if it wanted to be heard just once, make a statement, and then vanish back into the cosmic noise.
An intriguing thought. And, even the SETI lead got involved. They used the WOW signal as a test case for their software.
The SETI League, that's the group dedicated to searching for extraterrestrial intelligence, right?
One and the same. They wanted to refine their algorithms, make them better at detecting signals like the wow signal in the future.
Smart thinking uses the mystery to improve your methods. It's like Sherlock Holmes saying, well, I didn't catch this criminal, but I learned a thing or two that might help me catch the next one.
Precisely. So
Yeah.
we have this signal that appears to be artificial, at least in some aspects, and it has astronomers scratching their heads.
And to be fair, it's not like scientists just throw up their hands and say, well, it must be aliens then. They've explored natural explanations, haven't they? Of course. It's always the first step. Rule out the mundane before you jump to the extraordinary. And there have been some interesting contenders along the way.
Lay it on me. What were some of the leading hypotheses? What could possibly mimic a signal like that?
Well, for a while, comets were the prime suspect. The idea was that comets, as they travel through space, they release clouds of hydrogen.
And hydrogen line. Maybe there's a connection.
That was the thinking. Some researchers thought that maybe those cometary hydrogen clouds could act like amplifiers.
Amplifying what? Background radio waves.
Exactly, making them seem stronger, more focused, kind of like the wow signal.
So, like, imagine pointing your old-fashioned transistor radio at a comet and suddenly picking up a clear transmission.
Sort of like that. But as this new paper you shared points out, further analysis kind of debunks the comet theory.
Oh, how so?
For one, it turns out that comets don't actually emit radio waves strongly enough at the right frequency.
Okay, so not enough signal to amplify to begin with.
And on top of that, if a comet were the culprit, we should have seen the signal in both of the big ears receivers, not just one.
The two-horn problem strikes again. So the comet theory, it just kind of fizzled out.
Pretty much, but then there was another theory, a bit more exotic, interstellar scintillation.
Interstellar scintillation. Now there's a mouthful.
It's a fancy way of saying that radio waves, as they travel through space, they can get bounced around and amplified by stuff out there.
Stuff, meaning what? Like space dust.
Not quite dust, but clouds of electrons and other charged particles. They can cause distant radio sources to appear brighter or dimmer, kind of like the twinkling of starlight.
I see. So a distant radio source could be amplified, made to look temporarily brighter than it really is.
Exactly. It happens with light, so why not radio waves, right?
So could interstellar scintillation explain that wow signal?
Well, according to the paper, it's highly unlikely.
Why is that?
For interstellar scintillation to boost a signal to that extent, everything would have to line up absolutely perfectly.
Like winning the cosmic lottery.
You got it. It's not impossible, but it's about as probable as bumping into Elvis on your way to the grocery store.
So we can pretty much rule that out then.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so no comets, no interstellar scintillation. What's left? Are we ready to embrace the alien hypothesis?
Not just yet. Just when it seemed like we were back to square one, a new study emerged that might have the answer.
All right, don't leave me hanging. What's this new theory, the one that might hold the answer?
So this study, it suggests that the wow signal might have come from some of the coldest, smallest clouds of hydrogen in our galaxy.
Hold on. Those tiny, faint clouds of hydrogen that are practically everywhere. They're capable of producing something as strong as the wow signal.
Yeah, I know. It sounds counterintuitive, right? These clouds, they're incredibly common, but they're also incredibly faint.
So faint that nobody ever thought they could be behind something like the wow signal.
Exactly. It's like finding out that the quietest whisper in a room full of people is coming from, I don't know, a grain of sand or something.
So what's the secret? How can these little hydrogen clouds create such a powerful signal?
That's the question, isn't it? And this study, they used data from the Arecibo Observatory.
Arecibo, wow, before it collapsed.
Sadly, yes, before its time. But anyway, they were looking for similar signals, and they found them. Not as strong as the wow signal, mind you.
But similar.
Yeah, sharing that same narrow bandwidth that made the wow signal so unique. And guess what? They traced these signals back to, you guessed it, those wispy clouds of super cold hydrogen.
Incredible. It's like those clouds have a secret, a way to amplify their signal that we didn't know about.
That's what the study suggests. It seems like something's lighting up these clouds, giving them a temporary boost.
A boost? Like turning them into what, giant cosmic beacons?
In a way, yeah. The study suggests they're acting like natural masers.
Masers. Okay, remind me. Those are like lasers, but for microwaves.
Okay, you got it. It's like, imagine shining a flashlight at a wall. That's your typical radio emission, spread out, not very intense.
Okay, I'm picturing it.
Now focus all that energy from the flashlight into a laser beam.
Way more intense and focused on a tiny point.
Precisely. That's essentially what a maser does, but with radio waves instead of light. And it seems these hydrogen clouds, they can do it too.
So something is giving these clouds a maser-like boost, allowing them to briefly but powerfully blast out a signal.
That's the theory. And here's the kicker. The study proposes a possible source for this boost.
Oh, do tell. What could possibly pack that kind of punch?
Magnetars.
Magnetars. Now, that's a word I haven't heard in a while. Remind me what those are again.
Imagine a neutron star, already one of the most extreme objects out there. Now take that neutron star and give it a magnetic field 1,000,000,000,000 times stronger than Earth's.
That's pretty strong.
To say the least. These things, magnetars, they're like cosmic lighthouses with these crazy, powerful, rotating beams of energy.
And they think one of these magnetars might have swept its beam across a hydrogen cloud, zapping it with enough energy to create that maser-like effect.
It's a possibility. It's as if the magnetar turned on a spotlight, illuminating that hydrogen cloud just long enough to create the wow signal, and then moved on.
That is a seriously cool theory, and it ties in nicely with what we know about the wow signal. But is this it? Have we finally solved the mystery?
Well, in science, we never truly close the book on anything. This new theory, it's compelling, it offers a plausible explanation, but we have to be open to other possibilities.
You're saying there could be other explanations out there, other things that might cause a signal, like the wow signal?
Exactly. The universe is a vast and mysterious place. There might be phenomena we haven't even dreamed of yet.
That's both exciting and slightly terrifying, don't you think?
Yeah.
To know that there are still so many unknowns out there.
Definitely. But that's what makes it all so fascinating, isn't it? The wow signal. It's a reminder of how much we still don't know about the universe.
And it makes you wonder, if we're out here listening, searching for signs of other civilizations, maybe they're doing the same thing right back at us.
Perhaps, somewhere out there, another civilization is picking up a strange signal, a blip on their instruments, and wondering if they're alone in the universe.
And that's what makes the wow signal so captivating, even after all these years. It's a reminder that the universe is full of surprises, and we might not always have the answers, but the search itself is what makes it all worthwhile.